So I remember exactly where I was standing when I heard the news that John Kennedy was assassinated. And I remember exactly where I was sitting and how the room smelled the moment I first saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. I remember exactly the feeling in the pit of my stomach when my friend called me because she knew I don't watch TV in our house, and to say airplanes have just hit the World Trade Center. Because in each one of those moments there was something. There was a hair-tingling feeling that the world had shifted. Now that's from my perception. These are events that have shaped me, and I'm guessing each one of you have moments like that, where you heard something, you saw something, and you knew fundamentally the world had shifted for you. I had one of those moments this week when I sat in the driveway, groceries in the back of my car in a hurry to get where I was going to go, but I just was hearing on the radio that the Voyager 1 had left the solar system and was in interstellar space. Because as a student of conscious evolution, I knew in that moment in every cell and fiber of my being that I and you and we as a species had taken a giant baby step for humankind into a new way of being. I've spoken often about the process of conscious evolution and the notion that what we're doing here this morning, we're singing songs, we're sharing hugs, we're praying, yes, but at some level what we're doing is we're celebrating the birth of a new story in our midst, a new cultural understanding of who we are and what we're here for. And out of that cultural understanding is arising a new human. Homo sapiens sapiens has had a good run for 5,000 years, some would say 10,000 years, but that species is dying out under the weight of its own debris. And a new species is arising which understands that we are a people of oneness, that we are Homo universalis. There's only one of us. And there's only one universe, and we are it, and it is us. And as we learn to act out of that place, and buy out of that place, and not buy out of that place, to vote out of that place, to live out of that place, then truly a new species is being born in our midst. And what I know is that when Voyager 1 left the solar system and went into interstellar space, you and I all went out there. Our nervous system literally is out there. I was sitting in the car listening to the radio, listening to an announcer who had heard a story, who was telling a story that he'd read off his computer, which had come from another computer, which had come from another computer, and that had all happened in minutes. Within minutes of the news coming from NASA, it was spread to teleprompters in newsrooms throughout the world, and it was flashed to people. And mostly, our culture yawned in response because it was busy thinking about the potential disaster in Syria and wondering whether the Aggies were going to win with their new quarterback. The really important stuff. Meanwhile, Voyager 1 crossing out into interstellar space meant that our nervous system has literally gone beyond the Earth's sphere of influence and the sun's sphere of influence into the stars. We literally are remembering that we are stardust, we are golden, we were caught in the devil's bargain, and we're in the process of getting back to the garden being that place of universal consciousness that we arose out of. Oh, man, that's exciting. It's incredible to think, and because that unmanned space probe out there is run by a computer which is approximately 1/200th of the strength of my telephone memory chip. And because that memory on that computer in that ship, which is 18 billion miles away, essentially is running off of magnetic tape, not that different from the 8-track tape that some of us had in our cars way back when. And yes, I know I'm dating myself, excuse me. Not you, darling. Certainly not you, but me. To think that magnificent discovery of going into interstellar space is run on an old computer, running on an 8-track tape on a tiny little bitty computer that's 1/200th of this strength, tells me that it's a baby step, but that's what's possible with the old technology. We can't even begin to imagine what's possible with the technology that my teenage son and his friends are going to be inventing and using. And that signal that's coming back from Voyager 1 now takes 18 hours to come back to Earth, when the light from the sun only takes 8.5 minutes. That's how far that space probe is out there. It takes 18 hours, and it won't be long at all before we learn exactly what our responsibilities are between here and 18 million miles from here, and what it means to inhabit that space fully and live from that space fully and carefully and mindfully and heartfully. But we're here this morning practicing that, precisely that. A thing I modeled for you so well this morning when I came up here and was all discombobulated and not laying, and then the candle wouldn't light. And we took a collective breath and went, that's what we're here to do for each other. We're here to say, I know you had a tough week. I know that your boss is giving you heck. I know you had surgery. I know that your back's hurting. I know your mama's dying. And all of that hurts, and all of that makes you feel separate and alone and scared and less than and not good enough. But we're here to remind you, you're here to remind me, we're here to remind each other at an experiential level to open up and recognize that not only are we just like philosophically and theoretically owners of the universe, you and I collectively, our whole nervous system is embracing all of the solar system and beyond. That feels better. Okay, Rudi, but then what do I do about actually being in a relationship with my partner who's acting out? What do I do about this job that I can't find and my bank account that's dwindling? What do I do about this backache and it's been to the chiropractor 4 trips and it's still just, what do I do with this? And I started to address this last week. How many of you that were there last week, just out of curiosity, how much do I have to repeat? Okay, well, most of you, and I'll keep this part brief. The notion is that any time we, you come up against something uncomfortable, I'm invited to notice myself feeling uncomfortable. And usually when I'm feeling uncomfortable with something, my tendency is to run away. Or more likely just shut down, which is sort of like running away. It's a move we American males have perfected. It looks like I'm here, but I'm shut down because you've confronted me, or because my boss has given me a direction I don't want, or because I just looked at my checkbook and I see a number that freaks me out. We all have our own ways of reacting when confronted with a need to change or a desire to change. But however you react, we react, we're invited to be aware of it. That's always the first step, just to be aware, oh, here I am, shut down again. And I open to it. Maybe I'm just talking in the abstract here for a second. Won't you join me in taking something in your life which is challenging and bring it into consciousness? And if there's absolutely nothing in your life that's challenging for you, would you please come up here and tell us how you did it? And it may be something that just came up this morning on your way out the door. It may be something quite likely. It's something that's playing out of a pattern you've had since childhood. Because most of us are stuck in the gravity of a sun that it was created when we were 2 years old, about what mom and dad are and how they were to us and how our family of origin was, and our beliefs about how the world operates mostly still rotate around that fixed sun of how I was at 2 years old, and most of our behavior comes out of that. So whatever you're thinking about now that's challenging may well be a replaying of a very old pattern, or it could be something brand new. Bring it into consciousness. Take a moment to bring your challenge into consciousness. Now bring it up close. Pretend for a minute it's challenging. It's not, because you're safe in this room. There are no challenges. What? We're just sitting here being friendly together, talking, singing, praying. Bring it into this moment and feel what it's like to be aware of it, separate from any judgments you may have about it. Be aware of the awareness. And now, just for a moment, take the second step of the dance, which is to accept the situation just the way it is for the moment. You can wish it would be different tomorrow or next week or whatever, but just for now, feel your willingness to be with what is. Be aware of it and to accept it. Accept this is what's in my life. This is what's in my mama's life, my boss's life, my whatever, but I experience it in my life in this moment. And now take a moment to align with something bigger than you. I call it God. You might call it a feeling of love. You might call it feeling whole, perfect, and complete in my body, or feeling what it would feel like for the situation to be totally at peace, me totally at peace with it. But something bigger than you, align with a bigness that delivers a sense of peace and well-being in this moment. Because that is the truth of who you are. That is the truth of who you were meant to be as a child of the universe, as an inheritor of all that which is stardust and golden. And then the final step is simply allow. Just let go of even those thoughts and just allow what is to be what is. Feel yourself at peace. Four steps: awareness, acceptance, alignment with something larger, God, your goal, and then simply allow yourself to be in that space. You say, well, Rudi, that sounds good. And that worked wonderful. I could see the shift in the room. There's a great deal of relaxing going on in this room. I could almost swear I heard the thud of a number of different loads falling off of shoulders and hitting the ground there. And you say, but Rudi, that's all well and good here in the peace and silence of the jumpstart. On Sunday morning, it's easy, but what about tomorrow when I go back to work, huh? And that workload's still waiting. What about that meeting I'm going to have this afternoon that I'm not looking forward to? What about the fact that I don't feel good about myself? What do I do when it gets me in the middle of the night? It's 2 o'clock in the morning and I want to take a Xanax or a sleeping pill. What do I do then? Precisely the same 4 steps. Over and over again, just being aware and accepting and aligning and allowing. Yeah, well then, you think I should just, at work when I'm upset, you think I just sit there at my desk and just be aware, accepting, aligning, allowing? Yes. What better place and what better time? Because here's the other thing. If you practice this process in the peace and silence of your daily life, in quiet moments, in meditation, obviously where I'm going with this is having a meditation practice, an awareness practice of some sort. If you practice this on a daily basis, then when the disturbing things pop up, you have an opportunity to use a muscle that's been well exercised. You have an opportunity to remember once again, I am part of Homo universalis. I'm not a caveman huddled in a cave worried about the saber-toothed tiger attacking me. I might feel like that. I might have that much stress in my body because I've just watched a scary movie, or because I've just overeaten again, or because I've just had the same old argument. I might feel in my body as if a saber-toothed tiger is attacking me, but in fact, you are safe, perfect, whole, and complete. We are safe, perfect, whole, and complete, just the way we are for now. And as we move beyond that tendency to react out of fear, out of anger, out of separation, and into a tendency to act from a place of Homo universalis, heir to everything way beyond Jupiter and Saturn into outer space, the heir to a growing consciousness of love and peace and possibility, then change happens. Breathe into that with me. So in a minute or two, Brian and Marty will play another song, and you'll hear their artistry, and there'll be a part of you separating, watching, simply watching them do it, and you're the spectator. But at this time, as they get up and sing, feel as if it's you singing, because it is. As I'm speaking, it's you speaking. There's only one of us. And as we learn to really expand our sensory system and our habit pattern to embrace that oneness and live from that oneness, miracles happen. The golden rule you and I grew up with is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The new golden rule is as you do unto others, you are doing unto you, because there's only one of us. At least, that's my story, and it's subject to change, but for now, I'm sticking to it.